that's all that you have left to do, I want more. I want more happy sunny days. I want more happy smiles on her face. Love sparkling the eyes. Tears no more. No more sorrows. No more bad days. No more cries. No more dark cold place. No more fear. No more fight. Someone told me long ago that life is just a long road. Sorry, babe, but life to me is way much more. No matter what it seems to be, it's always time to make a change. Sometimes all we need is only one more chance. So try, build a bridge over troubled water, try. If that's all that you have left to do, I want more. I want more happy sunny days. I want more happy smiles on your face. Love sparkling the eyes. Tears no more. No more sorrow. No more bad days. No more cries. No more dark cold place. No more fear. No more fight. I want more happy sunny days. I want more happy smiles on your face. Love sparkling the eyes. Tears no more sorrow, no more bad days. No more cries, no more dark cold place. No more fear, no more fight. Let the sun go down away, shine, shine. Let the sun go down away, shine, 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 shine.
Never lose your faith in the brightness of your eyes. Never let the sorrow bring you down. Put a carry smile in your beautiful face. This way is much easier to go. Bright sun will shine. Let Jesus' love warm you up. Live happy your life and never think of giving up. Forget about your problems, enjoy living your life. Open up your heart for love to come inside. Jesus by your side, and with Him close to you, you'll be glad and never become blue. Bright sun will shine. Let Jesus' love warm you up. Live happy your life and never think of giving up. Bright sun will shine. Let Jesus' love warm you up. Live happy your life and never think of giving up. Jesus by your side. This way is much easier to go. You'll be glad and never become blue.
sky, where peace prevails. That's what I dream for you and me. Moved by the light of love, no longer dimmed by who we were. We'll rise into what we are meant to be, among flowers shining with the glow of supernovas. Tokens of that endless love God feels for us. That's what I dream. I dream a new day is going to dawn, the rising of a different world, where eyes who seek out chances to do good, a world of peace and brotherhood awaits the change that we can make. And changing our hearts is the first step we must take. A world where we will be as free as any bird flying in the sky, where peace prevails. That's what I dream for you and me. Moved by the light of love, no longer dimmed by who we were. We'll rise into what we are meant to be, among flowers shining with the glow of supernovas. Tokens of that endless love God feels for us. That's what I dream. I dream a new day is going to dawn, the rising of a different world, where eyes will seek out chances to do good, a world of peace and brotherhood awaits the change that we can make. And changing our hearts is the first step we must take.
Now I'm gonna sing a song that really calmed me down. If I close my eyes to pray, I heard the sound of the sea far away. If I close my eyes to pray,
Hello, friends. How is everybody doing? I hope you're doing great tonight. And thank you so much for joining us tonight for our Tuesday public talk. So, like always, we want to welcome you with all our hearts from me and from everybody behind the scenes. We thank you for being here with us another Tuesday. So before we start, as always, we just ask you that if possible, turn off your phone, find a quiet place. This is our individual time, right, to reflect in the gospel of Jesus and how we can become a better person, how we can nurture our soul. So our meeting has a format of more or less 30 minutes presentation. Then we have some questions and answers. So it's important if you have a question to put in the chat. And then the last part is what we call the spiritual care. So as always, now is the time for you to set aside some potable water, some drinkable water that can be magnetized at the end of our night and during our spiritual treatment. So we are here every Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Central Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time through our Facebook and YouTube for Spiritism Canada, and also the Facebook for Concaferous Continental Americas. And on Saturdays, you can catch us up through our friends from Kardec Radio through their Facebook and also their YouTube channel at 8 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. So multiple ways to to join us. If you are curious about Spiritism, if you would like to know more about Spiritism, we have this introductory course about Spiritism called Get to Know Spiritism. It's free, it is online every Saturday at 5:15 Eastern Time. So a new course, a new cohort of students has already started, but you are welcome to join us every Saturday, 5:15 Eastern Time. The registration link is on the screen, but if you're listening to us, you can also find us on YouTube later and see the links in our chat. We also offer what we call in Spiritism the gospel at home. So the gospel at home is just a practice, like a habit that you develop of every week at a certain date and time, at a set time. You just separate that 15 minutes, 20 minutes, no more than 30 minutes to do the gospel at home. So you read with your family or by yourself if you live by yourself or with a friend. But in your home, you read the gospel, you reflect on it, and you pray for your home. So if you would like to get started, having this practice of the gospel at home has a lot of benefits for you, for your neighbors. So if you want to get started and you need some motivation and some support to keep it going and maintain that, we can help you. So just contact us in the chat and we will get in contact with you and help you get set up. And another link you can find in our chat is about our vibration book. This is a confidential online book that where you can put the names, your name, the name of your friends, family, anybody that you know that is in need of prayer. This is our prayer book, and we have a group of volunteers who pray for the people whose names are in that list. It can be incarnate or discarnate, and they will be assisted, right, by the high spirits, by Jesus in whatever they need. So we'll pray for the people in that list. Today, we're all here gathered to actually listen and to reflect on chapter 15 of the Gospel according to Spiritism. The title of that chapter is without charity, there's no salvation. And today, our friend Rodrigo is going to be talking to us about items 1 to 3 that is entitled what is needed in order to be saved, and the parable of the Good Samaritan. So it's the beginning of chapter 15. Remember that we love the questions and the comments, so feel free to send those our way. And now I'm gonna ask our friend Rodrigo to come here, do our opening prayer as always, and then do lead us into the reflection of this chapter, this section of this chapter of the Spiritist, the Gospel according to Spiritism, and I'll be back at the end. So,
Good evening. I'm glad to be back. Thank you very much for the introduction. And as usual, let's start with our initial prayer. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes if you wish. Let's thank the opportunity to be reunited once again to study the gospel and the teachings of our Master. Please, spirituality, help us, intune us, and guide us in the reflection of this night, helping us to reflect and use the teachings of Christ to help us to become better people. Please support us and help this message to reach the heart and the soul of those in need of consolation, support, and understanding. We are very thankful for the opportunities that provide us, studying and learn from you and your example. And we ask your blessings to start the work tonight. Please help us to be with you today, tomorrow, and always. So be it. Okay, so let's get started. I'm gonna share my screen with you shortly, and we're gonna start our presentation. Just give me a second. I need to share my screen. There you go. As mentioned previously during the introduction, today we will talk about the chapter 15, what's needed in order to be saved. And then we're going to explore the parable of the Good Samaritan. And this is from the Gospel according to Spiritism, items 1 to 3. And Kardec and the High Spirits invite us to reflect about charity expressed in the parable of the Good Samaritan here. And this is start with this is in Matthew 25:31-46, and it start with a saying that now, when the Son of Man comes in His Majesty, accompanied by all the angels, He will sit on the throne of His glory, and all the peoples being gathered before Him, He will separate them from one another, as shepherds separates the sheep from the goats. So it's very important to mention here that Jesus is talking to the disciples here and other crowd around. And then it's important to get the context that Jesus is a great teacher. He used a lot of storytelling and allegories, metaphors, and parables to teach. So, and he used terms and language that people could reach Doesn't mean that's the entire revelation, but people on that time could get a better grasp of what his message is, what he's trying to say. And he used elements of the nature and daily lives because people could connect. That's why they used a lot of here, like shepherd from the goats. So are things that people are very familiar with and they could understand better because that's something they did in their lives. So then he continued, then the king will say to those who are on his right. So this is a metaphor to use what people are deciding to do. And he used the left and the right and the left side as a way to show there's separation according to what people do. So, and he continues, come on, who are blessed by my Father. Take possession of the kingdom that has been prepared for you since the beginning of the world. This is important to mention that God prepares his kingdom, and his kingdom here is the kingdom of happiness, right? Where we become perfect spirits. To go there, we have our journey. So that's what's happening. And this is prepared for us since we are created as a spirit. So the analysis here that we need to do is looking this not literally, but using the eyes of a spirit. So you have to think about as a spirit, and that spirit is eternal, and that God created us to succeed. So then we need this journey until we reach the spiritual perfection that we were created. And everyone was created to reach this perfection. But Jesus is trying to show here that the analysis, it depends on the choices, but everyone started at the same time point. So at the beginning, everyone was created simple and ignorant. And then we move along to our journeys based on choices. And then you're going to see here as continue that for the people on the right, Jesus was saying that I was hungry and you give me to eat. I was thirsty and you give me to drink. I was in need shelter and you sheltered me. I was naked and you clothed me. I was sick and you visited me. And I was in prison and you came to see me. As you see here, every situation here imply an act of charity. And that's why the title of this chapter is Without Charity, There is No Salvation. So be aware here that Jesus is showing that these people that are on the right, the righteous, are doing all those tasks. And then the righteous will answer him or ask him. So Lord, when it's that we saw you hungry and gave you to eat, or thirsty and gave you to drink? When was it that we saw you without a shelter and sheltered you, or without clothes and clothed you? And when was it that we saw you sick or in prison and came to visit you? And Jesus replied, and as the king. And the king will respond to them, verily I say to you, as often as you did it on behalf of the least of my brothers and sisters, it was to me that you did. So basically what Jesus is teaching to the righteous, and the righteous are people that are good, has good intention, good heart, and try to do their best. So they're telling every time that you help someone in need, you are doing that to me. So this is the meaning of charity, right? So for in the Jesus teaching here, he's trying to show to people that listen to him that charity is the way for us to progress, to do the right things. And he continued this allegory, this story, telling, but he will respond to them. So there is people from the right side, but then the people from the left side ask the same questions. And then the king will respond to them. Verily, I say to you, as often as you fail to render this assistance to the one of the least of this, you failed to do it to me. So what Jesus is trying to tell us here is the possibility that we have to help. We have the free will to not help. However, every time that we decide to not help people in need, so we're failing to apply the concept of charity. And that's when Jesus telling the separation between right and left. So just to show there's separation and consequences of choices. If you did the right things, good choice, help people, so then you're gonna have a way, a direction in your future, a better future. If you did not, so then there are consequences that you're gonna suffer the consequences of those choices. So what Jesus invite us to do the best we can, and every time that we help someone, we think that we also helping Jesus and as well God, because God expressed himself among people helping people. So God does not come from the highest to come and do everything for us. He will send the messengers that helps us. But in that audience, in the storytelling of Jesus, there was a doctor of the law that stood up and said to him, to test him, and that's important. Jesus' interactions and teaching public always have the doctors of the law, then they have the Pharisees, the Sadducees. They always come to test Jesus. Their idea is to try to make Jesus go in contradiction according to the law, the Moses law that Judaism followed that time. So, and Jesus was quite wise, and he always approached questions with a Socratic method. He used a question and then make people reflect and then give the teaching. I'm going to show you here Jesus' very interesting pedagogical approach. So the doctor of the law asked, Master, what must I do to possess eternal life? And see the Socratic method here? Jesus asked with a question, what is in the law? What have you read in it? See, the doctor of the law, when I test Jesus, ask a question. Jesus replied, asking a question that going to make this person and everyone that listened to reflect and answer that question. Now, the doctor of the law responded to Jesus. So you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbors as yourself. See, the doctor of the law knows what's written. And Jesus said to him, you have answered well. Do so, and you shall live. See, the interesting here, Jesus showed the knowledge that the person has that was trying to test him, ask a question, and the person reply correctly, and Jesus just finalized simply saying, well, you know the law, you know what's written, just do it. Now, Jesus invites us to action. This is a call for action. And every time that Jesus are teaching, he has this questioning period for reflection. People answer, and he got this answer and make a call for action. Now he invites everyone that's listening to understand, well, if those are the law, what's written, so you read it, so now do it, apply. So then, however, waiting to appear to be righteous, the man said to Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" A very interesting question. So because remember previously you have here, so and your neighbor is yourself. So you're gonna love your neighbor as yourself, though is my neighbor? Then, as Jesus teachings are always very interesting pedagogically, he tells the famous parable of the Good Samaritan. And I'm gonna kind of summarize this parable here, explaining the scenario, and then I will continue. So a certain man was coming down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell into the hands of thieves, who stripped him of his clothes, covered him with wounds, and left him half dead. So Jesus built this scenario. Someone is in need. Then comes the priest. So afterward, it just so happened that a priest was coming. So down by the same way. And having noticed him, so passed him by on the other side. So which means the priests represent the highest religious and most respectful people that time. They saw someone in need and decided to continue. And then the Levite, who also came to the same spot, saw him but passed by on the other side. So remember, the Levite were type of assistants to the priest in the worship. So those are very religious and respected people that time, but this also ignore the situation, someone in need. And then come the Samaritan. The Samaritan who was in the journey came to where the man was and saw him. He was touched with great compassion. So he was touched with great compassion. So the main difference between the three here is that the two that was the most respectful and the most powerful people that time, especially the priests, look at the man and decide to not help. But on the other hand, the Samaritans that time were deeply despised, distrusted, and considered religious racial half-breeds for the Jews. So they were not the, say, most liked people. They don't have the best reputation. But look at this. This person that doesn't have any of the good reputation was the one that feel compassion. And they continue. He approached him and poured oil and wine in his wounds and bandaged them. And putting him on his own animal, took him to an inn and cared for him. The following day, he took 2 silver coins and gave them to the innkeeper, saying, "Take good care of this man, and whatever more you spend, I will repay you when I return." And Jesus asked, "Which of these 3 seems to you to have been the neighbor of the one who fell into the hands of the thieves?" And the doctor of the law responded to Jesus, "The one who showed compassion on him." And Jesus said to him, "Go and do likewise." So that's a very beautiful story that show that an act of compassion and charity is way more powerful than your titles, your prestige, because in this case, the person that has the least of prestige that people judge as inferior that time was the one that gave assistance. And in this case, the Samaritan was the righteous. So, what is important for us to reflect about the stories that we're telling? So, the story and the parable, remember that our focus is always the moral, the spirit of the moral teachings that Jesus is trying to show us as humans. All of Jesus' morals are summed up in charity and humility. That is, in the two virtues contrary to selfishness and pride. You're going to notice that most of Jesus' teachings are trying to fight selfishness and pride, because that's the two problems that we as a human face a lot. And then you can summarize those teachings of Jesus with the Sermon of the Mountain. Blessed are the poor in spirit, he said, meaning the humble, for theirs in the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are the pure of heart. Blessed are the meek and the peace-loving. Blessed are the merciful. Love your neighbor as yourself. Do unto others what you want them to do unto you. Love your enemies. Forgive offenses if you yourself want to be forgiven. Practice the good without ostentation. Judge yourselves before you judge others. If you look, all this is really Jesus teaching charity and humility. And charity is so important because charity is loving in action. And we know that the love is universal, and that's a love of God. So every time that you are not practicing the law of love, you're not following Jesus' moral teachings and God laws. So basically, we are not doing the right choice. And then Jesus also show us, right, humility and charity, the things Jesus never ceased to recommend, and for which he himself gave the example and washed the disciples' feet. Here was a great example of the humility of Jesus. And many of the passages that you know from the Bible or any other sources, you're going to notice that Jesus is always doing good deeds, always teaching and doing. So Jesus served us and led us by example. He not only said things, he did, and he showed how to do it. And that's quite important for us to have in mind. Remember that pride and selfishness are the things he never ceased to combat. So we have our inclinations, so some tendencies, and if you really reflect deeply, most of the time it comes from excessive pride and selfishness. And that's why Jesus was so focused on those two, because based on these two vices, other vices grow as well. But he did more than recommend charity. He put in clear and explicit terms as an absolute condition for future happiness. So remember the story of the righteous, go to the right, go to the left. Jesus saying really clear, and with the parable of Samaritans, if you do good deeds, So your future will be happiness. However, if you don't, you have consequences. Alongside the supplementary and this figurative part of the teachings that Jesus uses storytelling and parables to make this idea stronger on the people mind, and because the level of intelligence and knowledge that time was more limited than nowadays. So Jesus has to use nature, things that are related to daily living that time, and they could connect better to the teachings. So, but if you think about these two passages here, these two message, so the biggest message is here is happiness awaits the righteous. So every time that we do good deeds, again, if we're charitable, we have good thoughts, good feelings, good actions, we help each other, we do the best we can. So you're going to end up good and you feel happy about it. However, if you're selfish, excessive pride, you don't help anybody, it's just about you, you're very materialistic, so unhappiness is reserved for this type of people. But it's never too late for us to change, right? So if you notice that you're too much on that part that is leading you to selfishness and excessive pride, so I always think that there are ways to change, and the best way is to help others. So charity is the way. So that's why Jesus emphasized charity often. So now is another analogy that Jesus tried to make people picture that story in their head, talking about the final judgment. So what will be taken into consideration in a passing sentence? So when people discarnate or passed away, so what's gonna be considered? And Kardec here tried to bring an analysis of Jesus' teachings to show that and ask questions. And as you see, Kardec is also use this kind of Socratic pedagogical method to teach, asking questions to the spirits, and the spirits bring the answer. So Kardec here asked to the spirits and say, will the judge ask if one has fulfilled this or that formality or observe such or in such outward practice? That's the question. And the answer is no. He will ask about one thing only, the practice of charity. He will say, you who assist your brothers and sisters, go on the right. You who were harsh toward them, go on to the left. So here, the left and the right is a representation of separation, because you have to agree with me that's not fair if I do not do the right things and then I have all the benefits. So people that do the right things, they're going to have their benefits because of that, and people that decide to not go to another way, and they will have a chance to fix the mistake. That's why we believe in reincarnation as a way to fix the mistakes. So will he require as to the orthodoxy of their faith? Will they make a distinction between those who believed in one manner or those who believe in another? So that's quite interesting, because nowadays we have this kind of battle between my religion is better than yours, what I believe is better than you. So we still have this very childish kind of behavior. And look at what the Spirit said. No, for Jesus places the Samaritan, regarded as heretic in that time, but who showed love towards his neighbor above orthodox that lacks charity. So the religious people there that supposed to do the right thing because they know they studied, they did not do it in that parable. And the person that at least expected was the one that showed compassion, showed a great sense of charity. So, which means love. So Jesus did not only make charity only one of the conditions for salvation, but the sole condition. In that past, there was a saying that without church there is no salvation. But here, it's quite clear when Kardec brings that analysis that Jesus is saying that it's not about religion, it's not about what you believe or not to believe. It's really what measures what you do. Doesn't matter what you say, it's what you do. And charity is the sole condition of salvation. And salvation means here in the sense that you can move towards your happiness, in the sense to become a a pure spirit. So as you fulfill those and you gain the virtue, because charity is loving action, and we know that all virtues orbitate around love. So that's why we need to combat as much as we can the pride and selfishness. And to finalize, I would like to show you this quote from Mahatma Gandhi that said, "The simplest acts of kindness are by far more powerful than 1,000 heads bowing prayer." Basically, Mahatma Gandhi is really supporting Jesus' teachings regarding to do good to others, be charitable, help those in need, because if you do, you help me as well. Basically, we are co-creators with Jesus, and then helping Jesus and even helping God, because we take care of each other, we're following the law of love. So, in charity is the greatest expression. That's why this chapter, again, to finalize, is called "Without Charity, There is No Salvation." So, thank you very much for listening to me. Have a wonderful day.
All right, friends. So I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. I was following here with my gospel, my book with me. Unfortunately, our friend Rodrigo was not able to join us for this second section of our, for the questions and answers, but I'll do my best to, kind of make a little comment. And I see we do have one question. So I'll attempt to answer that. It was a reflection, and it's really one of the chapters that really it's one of the tenets of Spiritism, right? And this expression, "without charity there's no salvation," comes as a modification from the expression, "without the church there is no salvation," because we saw, as it was exemplified by Jesus, that uh, it doesn't matter really, right? The religions, it really matters is the charity, right? In the example with the parable, the priest passes by and just lets the man still be there without any help. Then we have the Levite, and finally the Samaritan is the one who actually help. So the question here that we have from our friend Publio is, why do we still have difficulties in seeing who is my brother and my sister? I think our friend is talking about, this distinction. Who is my neighbor, right? So why? I mean, I know God is only one, so that makes it easy. But when the commandment is really to love God and love my neighbor as myself, then who is my neighbor, right? Is the whole universe my neighbor? And the answer is yes, everybody is basically my neighbor, right? For this one house or this one city that is the earth. So I actually think that we still have the difficulties seeing others as our brothers and sisters, as our neighbors. I think it's because we have too much pride and selfishness, like it was said in this chapter. Then we have charity and humility, right? So when it's time to do the good, we are like the priest or the Levite. We see somebody in need, and instead of focusing on the charity and the humility, it could have been me. What if I was there? So let me help this person because I would like for someone to help me. I'm thinking, who is that person? Are they worth it? My help? Are they from my family? Are they from my religion? Are they from my city? Right? What am I going to lose? Right? You were thinking about that. I'm sure in the parable, if it was, a place where somebody got robbed and actually got beaten up and was about to die, it was a dangerous place. So are you gonna stay there and help somebody? Risking yourself, your own safety, right? So I think that's the difficulty. The difficulty in seeing others more, seeing everybody as our brother and sister. It's inside ourselves, is in the way that we face. We are not evolved yet to really use charity and humility. Instead, we're still full of pride and selfishness. Instead of helping the person, we're like thinking, what is in there for me, right? That's the selfishness. And the pride, it's like, who is that person? What others will think about me if I'm helping somebody in difficulty? So, and I think one of the most beautiful, messages in these examples that Jesus got is that when he says, right, who is the neighbor, when he asked, and the answer, uh, from the doctor of the law is let um, no, it's actually when it says that the Samaritan who was on a journey came to where the man was and saw him. So in the parable, Jesus says that, and he says, and he was touched with great compassion. So that is really an example that any of us can be really touched with great compassion. And that's really what, Jesus is, recommending us, right? It's to be more charitable. So, it was a big opening. Of course I read this before, but every time it's good to hear and reflect so that we can actually be thinking, right? Why don't I see others as my brother and sister? And the answer is in ourselves, right? Because that's not how it was planned. The plan from God is that we are all one big family, and we all should be um, really, helping one another, right? My neighbor is whomever it's on my way, it's whomever comes into my life, it's whomever needs my help, and that can really, that I can really exercise that great compassion and, um, help. So we will continue this chapter, not next week. Next week we'll have the Spirit's book, if I'm not mistaken. And then the next week, the following week, I'll come back and we will talk about the other items, and we'll continue with this beautiful chapter of the gospel. So, like I said, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you really get this idea. Let's really try to, Jesus really tell us, and Kardec summarizes it so well. There are so many vices, so many virtues. We don't need to worry about too many of them. It's just saying the main ones: charity and charity and humility, right? So those are the two that we need, and from those, all the other virtues will come, and we need to avoid the vices of pride and selfishness, because from those two, it's when all the other vices will come from those. So, no need to remember all of them. Just think about those two that we need to avoid and the two that we need to work every day to um, improve and to get more and develop. So now we get to the special time of our night where we go to our spiritual care. So our spiritual care has one part where it passes, and then we also have the fluidified, the magnetized water. So the passes is just a transfusion of spiritual energy that can assist with our physical, emotional, and mental balance. So if this is your first time with us for the passes, don't worry. It's a guided passes, meaning that you're going to listen to somebody's voice and just keep quiet and keep breathing. Just try to relax, close your eyes so it's easier for you to concentrate on the words that are being said. Just with your mind, with your thoughts, just give power to what you are hearing, but just stay relaxed or just remain in prayer, and you should be able to um, get all the benefits from passes. That water that you set aside earlier, it will receive healing energy for your body, for your soul, which you and your family can benefit. So you can either have your individual, water bottle, or if you have a bigger container, you can divide among the people in your house, for example. So I'm going to now do the prayer right before the passes. That's going to be our final prayer for tonight too. So with a lot of love in my heart, I really invite all of you to pray with me. So let's close our eyes. Let's thank Jesus for clarifying the message of love, for really giving us the roadmap that give us the opportunity to be closer and closer to God and therefore be happier. The roadmap, the guide that really tells us how we can live our life so that we are aligned with the laws of God, with the divine laws. And in that, we can be one with God and with the whole creation and be a better version of ourselves. And by working on ourselves with a lot of self love, with all the resources that God puts us out there for us, really seeking and receiving, being open to this love that God has for us, by allowing ourselves to receive that love and for that love to help us transform ourselves, we are getting closer and closer to the plan that God has for us, to all the wonderful things He has planned for us once we, with all the choices that we have, we make good choices and we transform ourselves, and then we can really receive the blessings from the merits that we have. So let's all thank God for our lives, for His plan of love, of mercy, thanking Him because He's good, He's just, but He's merciful, thanking that He gave us Jesus, this wonderful guide that never forsakes anyone, that it's day in and day out, every moment, every second, helping each and every one of us in our inner struggles, in our path to evolution, in walking this road towards evolution that is our lives. Thanking God for all the good things. Let's ask, as eternal beggars that we are, let's ask Him to help us on this continuous path of letting go of pride and selfishness and really developing in ourselves charity, compassion, and humility. Let's ask that He may protect us, that in every corner of this beautiful blue planet, that anybody has a sincere prayer, may they be answered not on the merits that they have, but due to the immense love and mercy that God has for all of us. Let's also vibrate with a lot of love for all our friends whose names are in our vibration book. May they be answered in all their necessities. May they feel comforted. May they feel supported. May they feel the love of God, the light and the peace of Jesus in their hearts. And may they be able to overcome any of the difficulties they're going through. May God give us a good night. May we all enjoy the blessings of this spiritual treatment that we're gonna receive now. And may we all be together in Jesus' name many, many more times. And so be it.
Let's get ready for the pass and water fluidification. Please get a container with clean water to be fluidified. Brothers and sisters, it does not matter where you are, what type of hardships you are going through. Jesus is always ready to come and help us. Place yourself in a comfortable position which can make it easy for you to reach concentration and receptiveness. Breathe slowly and easily. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Fill up your lungs with air and let it out very slowly. Let tranquility and peace energies penetrate your lungs and move throughout your body. Your soul in harmony with your body feels easy and in peace. Let's imagine Jesus' passage. A clear day, the sun's golden rays illuminate the happy passage in Capernaum. A lot of white houses, multicolored vines, and hopping birds fill the landscape with optimism. The news about cures attracted the crowd in need. Suddenly, Jesus appears slim and handsome. His tunic was hanging down to his feet. At sunset, all those with sick people hit by several illnesses would bring them, and as he placed his hands over each one, he would heal them. This is what Luke the evangelist says. Let's imagine Jesus approaching you. He holds his friendly hands over our head. Notice that from his generous hands, a waterfall with clear and pure water originated from his love come to bathe you. It flows on your head, goes down your shoulders, bathe all your being, and brings you peace, serenity, and balance. They remove all impurities and pacify you. Feel the water bathing you, cleaning. Breathe. Now, imagine Jesus as a sun before you. His light, his warmth surrounds you. Feel the healing energy that comes from Jesus towards you. He hears your prayers. Trust him. His love is endless and it follows you and protects you. It provides you with everything you need. Have faith. Absorb the healing energy from Jesus. His light surrounds you. Feel the energy going through all your body. Feel stronger and in peace. Lord Jesus, our divine friend, reach out your generous hands, Lord, and change this water into medicine for our physical and spiritual illnesses. Protect us, Jesus, with your peace. Spread those vibrations of love throughout my home, Lord. May peace, health, and tranquility reign here. We are very grateful to you, Jesus. Stay with us today and forever. Thank God. Please remember to use the fluidified water.
Friends, it's with the sweet vibrations of the passes that we bid you a very good night. May God bless you and bless all of yours. We'll be here again next Tuesday, and we hope to count on you, on your presence, on your companionship. Follow us on Facebook, Spiritism Canada, our channel on Spiritism Canada in YouTube, and also on Instagram on the Spirits group Path of Light. Good night.
Come on, my friend, come to the light. Here with all our heart and soul, let's follow Jesus Christ. Let us preach the peace, let us preach the love. And this world already wonderful will be much more. Get up, look at the sky, in the earth where the flowers bloom with sunshine. Let's hold our hands and be together on this road. Then we take peace and love and spread it to the world.